Good morning, everyone. So today's a pretty exciting day. I'm about to pass, well, hopefully pass my float plane rating. Essentially, we're going out to Quebec Aéronature. It is basically a small flight school. They specialize in backcountry type flying. If all goes well, that's where we're gonna end up finishing today. I have about 2.5 hours of dual time with my instructor to do, and then if she likes what she sees, she's gonna send me off to my solo, and then I'll be able to file the paperwork and get my rating. So with no further ado, let's get to the training and hopefully my rating.
There was still some fog when I got to the airbase that morning, and we had to wait it out before we go flying, but that wasn't so much of a problem as we did most of our pre-flight checks on the ground since they have a tractor to pull the planes in and out of the water because they can't stay in the river. It was a lot easier for us to just do the run-up outside of the water on the grass and not have to worry about the plane drifting at all. My love-hate relationship with GoPros will remain the same for a little while longer, I fear. Unfortunately, like most of my other flights, I had some technical issues. On this one, the audio cable decided not to work with the camera, and therefore we didn't get any audio for most of the flight. But I think I figured out a way to iron out those technical issues, and I'll be making a video about it in the near future, so stay tuned for that one. But for now, you'll just have to deal with me narrating what's going on. At this point, we had already flown for an hour and a half in the morning, and now it was time for the afternoon flight, where my instructor Lauren wanted to just go over all the basic maneuvers before she would approve me to go out on my solo. We headed out to the practice area, which is about 10-15 nautical miles away from where the airbase is. It's on a part of the river that's a little less busy, which will just make things a lot easier, and I'll be able to concentrate on the maneuvers and not have to worry so much about dodging boats or other obstacles that the river might hold for us. At this point in my flying career, I had accumulated about 140 hours or so of flight time, and the one thing that was very different between the flying I'd done in the past compared to the flying during this training was that most of the flying during your float plane training takes place at about 1,000 AGL or lower as you're landing, which is something I wasn't used to. Most of my flight hours so far had been in cruise if I wasn't landing or taking off, and that cruise altitude was always a little higher. It was always around at least 2,000, 2,500 feet because altitude is life. So you always have to keep in mind where you'd put it down should you have an engine out. With a float plane, it's a little different. As long as you got a body of water, you'll be fine. So you're not so worried about climbing to altitude right away. You can stay and enjoy the views as you fly low and slow. When we got to the training area, it was time for the first order of business. My instructor asked me to show her my glassy water landing techniques. For those who don't know, landing on glassy water is considered one of the most dangerous parts of float plane flying. Essentially, what happens is that the body of water becomes a giant mirror, and it's very hard to tell how high you actually are above the water. And if you get it wrong, it can look a little something like this. So yeah, let's not do that. I'll spare you the actual details since I'm not a CFI, but essentially it boils down to finding the right RPM setting that just kind of arrests your descent to a very low descent rate, and then you keep it there with the right pitch angle, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait, and you wait some more, and you wait a little bit longer, and then you'll touch down. After that glassy water landing, we did 2 more, just for good measure, and just to make sure that I really understood what I had to do. With the glassies all done, now it's time to move on to the last check. So we headed downriver just to mix things up and keep things a little more interesting. On my way there, though, I couldn't stop but getting all romantic about the Piper Cub PA-18. What a flying machine, and I think it's just made my bucket list of planes that I want to own in my lifetime. But let's just keep that between you and me, because I don't think the wife's quite ready for that news yet. We got to the new spot downriver, and now it was time for me to show Lauren that I could hit a point on the river with my landing. Essentially just to make sure that I wouldn't overshoot or undershoot the dock when it came to doing my solo. So that's what we did. She pointed out a little spot on the river, and then I had to get within 200 feet of that spot. Not too difficult with this plane, but I still had to give it, my maximum effort. This part right here was my favorite part of the entire landing procedure. The point where you cut down the power and then just let the plane glide down to your landing spot. Makes it feel like a mini roller coaster, and I love that feeling. Another successful landing. And with that, Lauren was happy with what she saw, and it was time to head back and get ready for my solo. As we're flying back to base, I'm going to take this moment to ask you guys to like, comment, and subscribe. It really goes a long way towards helping me build this channel. Also, in your comments, if you want to write what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like to see, I'm really looking forward to building a community with you guys and doing a lot more of this content in the future. We arrived back to base, and before we parked the plane, Lauren gave me a couple last pointers on how to make sure everything went smoothly. And then after parking and a quick debrief and some fuel back in the plane, I was ready to go. It's a funny thing about check rides. Even though it's something that you've done successfully multiple times before, as soon as there's a test involved, your stress level just ends up skyrocketing. And looking back at the videos now and knowing what I look like when I'm stressed, I can tell you that the pressure was definitely on. And just to add to the stress level, there was a plane that had just taken off from the nearby airport, so I had to keep my head on a swivel, but thankfully there was no conflict.
Beautiful, Donna, beautiful. First one is good.
And with that, I had completed my first solo. I had to do 4 more just for the requirements of Transport Canada, but after completing the first one, I can tell you that the stress levels dropped considerably. All in all, I have to say that my float plane training experience was fantastic. Probably among the best experience I've had so far in my young pilot career. Big shout out to Lauren and everyone at Aigo Natsur for getting me through it as quickly and efficiently as possible. I'm really excited to keep learning, as the 7 hours that Transport Canada requires for the rating are not nearly enough to master everything that comes with flying a seaplane. But I guess that's what the journey is all about. Thank you for sticking around till the end. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and we'll see you in the next one.